Good morning. Welcome to Crush Your Trading. This is your host, Will V, and I am the Psychomaniac Day Trader. And actually, we are all Psychomaniac Day Traders here. And we're going to get into yesterday's setups. We had setups on Coin, Meta, NVDA, and MSTR. We might have had a couple other ones. Them are the ones we're going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about what I just talked about earlier, and that is, knowing when to stop out of your trade. This is kind of the last day of April. Double your money, and a lot of you guys, some of them you have doubled and some of them you haven't. So we're going to figure this out, and we'll talk about it. We'll see what we need to do for May, but May is going to be all about managing the trade. So I think as far as execution goes, we've done a good job of executing. We've come a long way. We had a hard time getting into trades and executing with full size in the beginning of the month, and now here we are at the end of the month, and I think everybody has learned how to get into the trades. So we're good at executing, and now we need to figure out how to manage our stop losses and how to manage our scales and when to get out of the trade, okay? Which means that we're going to have to apply a little bit of what I call HI, human intelligence, right, you guys? And we're going to get into that right now. So the first trade that I'm going to get into, change into the trading page here. Sorry, I'm still waking up. All right. As you can see, also, we got my swings on. Let's talk about the swings real quick here for a second. I am looking at, let me move this over to Netflix. I like Netflix to the downside. I'm having a hard time talking this morning here. Let's see, NFLX. Probably need some more Red Bull, right? All right. So if I go to the daily chart on Netflix, we have this key level right here that took place back on February 18th, okay? And I took this impulsive candle right here. I put in our crush it zone, right? The impulsive crush it zone. And the reason why I got into this early, Amy, we talked about this, is I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of green on Netflix. Not saying it can't go 9, 10, and 11, but I think at some point we're most likely going to come back to retest this level right here. Okay, that's what I'm banking on before we go up again. It could go up. That's fine, but I think at some point we're going to get this pullback and it's going to have to retest. It could retest just down to right here also, which is fine because I should be ready for that also, okay? But that's what I'm looking for on Netflix. If we go higher, then I'll add to that trade and we will scale out when we get that pullback, hopefully. If we don't get it, then you know what? That's the way it goes. Sometimes it doesn't work the way you're intending to. And you get stopped out. But another thing I wanted to talk about is if we get to the impulsive crush it zone, we're going to be 52% away, right, of our anchor. Right here, I think we're about 32% away from our anchor, and the average pullback is about 30 to 35% away from our anchor average. And so if we do get to up here, I mean, we're going to be 52% away. You know what that guy mean? You know what that means, right? So this is roughly where the anchor average is. I don't have it in here, but I'm going to draw this in here. So it kind of goes something like this here. And when price gets a certain percentage away from it, then we know that it's most likely going to get a pullback. So that is why I'm in Netflix. That's why I'm negative $7,600, because I got in early, right, with a starting position, and I'll add to that position as needed, okay? The next one that I got into was Tesla. Tesla, huge gap down. I got these out for May 30th, I think it is, or May 25th. May 30th, sorry. Right here. I'm looking for a break. It's having a hard time breaking the 200-day. We were up three grand on it earlier, and you can see with that big gap down here happening this morning that we're going to have a little bit of a challenge here. So we'll see. We could go red on some of these and that are green now, and the red one could be a nice, healthy green one. So the goal is to get out of the Netflix here at some point today or tomorrow by the end of the week, and we're going to hang on to Tesla. Tesla broke the 50 SMA here. We're moving to the upside there. And then also Apple. We're in Apple to the upside. Once again, I'm looking for a push to the 50 SMA. This is a quick short swing. So I'm looking for a quick push to the 50 SMA. We'll trim most of them if we get there. And we'll add to that position once it breaks the 50 SMA for a move higher if we get it. Okay. Might take some time to play out, but that's the game plan. And then what was the other one? Coin? Let's do coin here. Same thing with coin. We broke the 50 SMA. We retested it. We're trying to move higher. And we'll see what happens. I heard there was news last night that, was it Trump or somebody? They were backing down. The trade wars are back, and they're arguing again. So we'll see what happens. I believe it's a trade war type situation this morning with the sell down. My understanding, unless somebody knows something different. But that's my understanding. I was listening, and then I also, are you guys interested in? Is it Optimus? The robot. I mean, I don't know. That sounds kind of cool. Even if it doesn't do jack, I think that'd be kind of cool to have a robot running around your yard. Like somebody will have a pit bull and I'll have Optimus. That would be cool. I don't know how well it would work. I don't understand it 100%, but I just think it'd be cool to have a robot running around the house. Right? Beware of robot. And my robot will be armed, by the way. So let's see here. All right, let's get into coin. So coins looking pretty good for the month, you guys. It's looking really good for the month. And I'm going to show you where we're at here in a second. So we hit the crush zone pretty early, but what I like about this one on the 5 is we have the 1 hour 50 SMA. We got the crush zone here. So we got a pretty decent indicator. We're deep outside the Bollinger Bands. So it's looking good for a move to the upside. It did come a lot early, really, about 9:39, 9:40. And you can see we have this nice clean move. 1, 2, 3 candles move to the upside. I think there's a little bit of an IV crush on it because it happened so early. We had a little bit higher IV at the open, and then IV started to drop. And so as we got into this trade, the premiums kind of stayed where they're at as price was going up. But it still did pay. It still paid decent. I think it still paid about 20%. Okay. Amy's going to get an Optimus that looks like a bear, and it's going to watch her day trade. So a lot of times when I talk about managing, right, we want to manage our losses. So as we're watching this price action come into the crush it zone here, you guys, check this out. So we're coming in here. Okay, you can see the little doji candles in here. So you can see we're starting to falter, okay? We get a nice touch right here, clean touch. We might take a starter in here. We want to make sure that it's not going to move into the crush it zone because I'm trying to efficiently trade this and I want to minimize my losses, okay? So I'm still in the execution part of the process. So we're still trying to execute here. We might get into a starter here. Price comes in. We get a nice hammer candle right here. Moves up. We might get in right here. Okay. And finish your trade up. That's it. So you kind of got in generally right in this area here. But you guys see the difference in this candle setup right here versus when we're pushing straight through the crush it zone, okay? And then we have the 3 candle setup, right? You remember the 3 candle setup? So candle 1, candle 2, and here's candle 3. And candle 3 is higher than candle 1. So that's showing that we want to get that move to the upside, okay? You're still close enough to the crush it zone here, okay? Now, if things don't go your way and we get back into the crush it zone, right, your 15% loss, your max loss, might end up being a 17% because we're going to stay here. A lot of times, I've seen a couple of you get out of the trade because you're like, oh, I'm at 15%. I'm just getting out. And you're out right there. Right there is where you got out. And then price comes right back again because it was a clean touch. So when I say a little bit of HI, you got to use just a little bit of human intelligence here. Okay, you got to look at your MACDs, see what's going around you, what's happening with the QQQs, what's happening, okay? It's okay. I mean, we're going to try to minimize our losses, but like I said, if this shows it's going up, but all of a sudden it decides to go against you for a minute, okay, use your best judgment. If you do want to get out, that's fine, but use your best judgment. Do your best to stay in the trade, but don't get a 15% loss or a 20 or 25% loss at all, okay? That is good trade management. Do not, Greg, do not let yourself go over 20%. So I know a couple of you said, well, my stop loss is 20%. And I said, well, why is it 20%? Well, you said 15 to 20. And I said, no, 15% is my max stop loss. Every once in a while, maybe twice a month, my stop loss might get stretched out a little bit, 17 or 22%, because things are just looking maybe a little bit more ambiguous. It looked like they're still going to go my way, so you kind of want to hang on just for just a little bit, but that's just once in a while. You can't have every trade be a 20% loss, okay? 15% max. And then, like I said, we want to minimize it. So we'll get into some other trades here, and I'll show you on the far side how we can minimize that down to a 7% loss if we wow, look at that move down. So let's go to NVIDIA. We had another setup on NVIDIA here. Hit the crush it zone right here. No questions asked. We're in the trade. What does that look like on the 10 second? And I thought I had this set up. Now I got to move this out here. Hang on. Who's ready for trading today? You look at that move to the downside right here, you guys, and it freaks a lot of people out, and they think, okay, they get that stuck in their head, and it's going to mess you up trading today. Don't worry about it. You know, we play the crush it zone, and you know, if somebody asks me about earnings and this and that, like, I don't give a shit about earnings. I don't care about the news or nothing, because you know what? Look at yesterday's earnings. I'm going to show you something on NVIDIA here. Check this out. I'm going to show you something. Copy. Let's go to the 5 minute here. NVIDIA didn't have earnings, but I think it was SMCI, right? They had earnings, and so they flushed down. But look at what happens here after market on the 5 on NVIDIA. Okay, let's just say that you had no clue what was going on. You didn't know that SMCI had some bad earnings or what. I don't even know what they had. I don't listen to the news. But isn't this funny? Look at that. It hits right down to the crush it zone and bounces right back up. Okay, so when you're playing the crush it zones and you're playing our, you know, our trend arrows, our psychomaniac trend arrows, I don't get wrapped up in the news. And the reason why I don't is I'm a highly technical trader. I trade the technicals. And if I start getting emotionally wrapped up in what's going on around me, it makes me second guess myself, Amy. I start doubting because I'm looking at too many things, right? I'm like, okay, but we got bad news. What if it doesn't bounce off the crush it zone, right? So I have all this information coming in, and it's gonna cause me to start doubting myself. So that's why I just don't listen to the news. And if I lose one trade or two trades because, you know, I wasn't listening to the news or something happened and bad earnings here, good earnings there, I don't care. I don't care. I mean, I just don't give a rip, not one bit, because the technicals don't lie. Doesn't matter what's going on. I remember FOMC days. I hear a lot of people, oh, I don't trade FOMC. Okay, well, don't trade it then. I do. Because all I know is if I hit my zone, guess what? I take the trade. If it doesn't work, then someone's going to say, well, I told you not to trade at FOMC. Well, what about the day it wasn't FOMC and I lost the trade? Then what do you got on me? Because I have won plenty of trades off the crush it zone on FOMC days. And I can show you plenty. There's tons of them. So I'm telling you straight up, you guys, if you want to watch the news and put that junk in your head, you go right ahead. I don't. I don't give a rip about it. Not one rip. So I don't care what's happening right now. All I care about is when that bell rings and I get my fib levels in there and I know where my crush it zone is. I take my trades. If I'm stopped, I'm stopped. If I'm not, I'm not. I don't care. I'm going to show you why here in just a minute. But let's just talk about managing this trade right here, okay? So we get in. Here's the 10-second chart. You know, you can use the 10-second setup if you're checking to go all in right at the crush it zone. But, you know, you can get in here, and I told Greg and a couple of you guys, I'm waiting for a red candle here. So we get in here, and I get this red hammer candle. So, yes, I'll take my trade all in right here. It comes down, excuse me, and it comes back up in here. It hits the crush it zone, right? I might be all in. I might have taken a starter. But if I haven't gotten all in by this time, I'm definitely all in by now, okay? So this right here is a good setup. You should be in the trade all the way to the downside, all the way down to the zero line, okay? And this was a $1.44 move on NVIDIA to the downside, right? So we have a good setup there on NVIDIA. Now, if the trade didn't go your way, and sometimes we get these nice clean touches right here where it doesn't go your way, right? Your risk reward. So we're all in right here. It means we have no more money to add into the trade. And I know someone out there is going to say, well, you should, leave a few bucks on the table. You shouldn't be doing. Listen, we're playing probability. We have an 80% chance of winning this trade. Okay. 80% of the time. And so I talk about this. You have, let's see here. You can't change the fact that it's an 80% win rate. You can't change it. So you can get in here, right? And you can be this far away from your stop out. Or you can get in here when you know it's going to work out and be this far away from your stop out. You can't change the 80%, okay? You just can't. So if you have questions about that, let me know. But you want to get in as close to the crush zone as possible. If you're all in right here, you should have about a 15% loss right in here. And you should wait for the body of the candle to close outside, right, of the stop area. It can wick, but let it close out. This is why I say sometimes you can get into a 17% loss if you let the body close out. And you end up losing the trade. But you have an 80% chance of winning this, okay? An 80% chance. Anyway, so that is NVIDIA. What else? We had Meta set up for us. My 10-second charts. Sorry, guys. Thought these were all set up. We had a $6 move off of Meta, which paid incredible. It was probably one of the better trades of the day. And a lot of you guys are afraid to take it because we've been stopped out a couple times this month. But even with the stop outs we've had this month on Meta, you would still be up on your account, okay? This is a good trade, right? You wait for that first red candle to get in there so you know it's going to pull back. Maybe a nice hammer candle. Right here, can you see that candle right there? Right there. So you get a nice candle right there. Comes back. Yes, it comes back again. If you didn't get in full size here, then you get in full size here. Take your time. Wait for it to go. And look, you got a nice move right down almost to the zero line. Now, managing the trade here, this is where I get into human intelligence. You know, you got the 50 SMA, you got the 360, and you have the zero line here. It doesn't quite get to the zero line, but you have to have enough experience managing the trade, knowing that, hey, you know what? I should be taking a lot off the table here. Not to mention you have is that a $6 move? I can't even tell. Yeah, about a $6 move. And if we go into Meta here, right? If we're in Meta here, I don't know how well you can see this. The average move on Meta median is $6. Right there. That's our average move. Okay. We've been stopped out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. I think we're at about a, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I put an NP here because this stop is really a no play. We got stopped, but you wouldn't have played this anyways. The plays you had are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've had 8 plays on Meta. And a lot of these stopouts you wouldn't have gotten into regardless. You know, you wouldn't have gotten into them, but we just mark them on here so we know our stats. And the ones that you would have played out on had really good win rates. Okay, they had really good win rates. Almost, well, actually, I'm very conservative on these ones. They're a lot bigger than this. They're more like 30, 40, 50% win rates. And I put them down as 30, 25, 25, 30. But if you had $2,000 in this month so far, you would be up. Actually, I got to update this here. So you would be up $2,500. And if you know, I like to take about a $20,000 to $25,000 position in each one of my trades. You would be up $31,000. So you'd be up, let's see, 25. So yeah, you'd be up about $6,000 for the month on your regular position. You can see the difference between 2,000 and 20,000 when growing your account here. You see that? So it doesn't look like a lot when you're growing your account, but you take that extra $2,000. Well, you can't see it here. I have it updated on my other chart here. Sorry, guys. You can't see this on this one, but it's at 2,500. And you just keep pushing that forward. Look at March here on Meta, right? 2,000 would have been worth 11,000. So, you know, you got 1 month. It's okay. Don't sweat it. It's not a big deal. Okay, and not to mention, you're not going to get in all of these ones that you got stopped out on. So you're most likely, you should be greener once we go through May and you learn, you know, a little bit better how to manage the trades. You know, 2,000, 11,000. February, you would have had, you know, $2,000 would have been 4,000. You would have doubled your money, so you'd had a $40,000 month if you're doing the 20,000. 2,000 is 11,000, right? 5 times. So if you'd had a 20,000, 20 times 5, you had a $100,000 month in January. December, you tripled your money. November, you quadrupled your money. October, you 2.5 times your money. September, 2,000 would have turned into 17,000. I don't even know what that is, how many times that goes in there. August, what are we in August? $3,000 in August would have turned into 6,000, so you'd have doubled your money. So don't let one little month ruin your trading, right? It's just 1 month. We're going to get back into things again. It's going to be good, okay? So anyway, so that's Meta. Tesla, did we have a trade on Tesla yesterday? So we did. Another one. We had nice clean touches yesterday. Nice clean touches. We had a $9 move off of Tesla here, off the crush it zone. We had a couple crush it zone trades here. This was the quick one that we got at 9:38 for a move to the upside. Pretty decent trade. I wanted to, let's see here. This is 29. Is that 29? Yeah. Let's move this. I think this is the one I can show you. So okay, so now we're on the far side of the crush it zone. Where do we get into this trade? So this one here can be a little bit more trickier, right? Do you stop yourself out? Do you hang on? Do you go? Right? So you get in here, you're waiting for that green candle. This is an ambiguous candle. Do you see the difference between the other hammer candles that we get on here and this candle here? It's like the wick is almost the same size on each side right here, okay? So for me, because I'm a little bit more experienced, but someone, you know, maybe like Greg or Pappy that's in this, they don't know. They're just like, you know what? I'm jumping in the trade. And that's fine too, okay? You're still going to do well if you jump in right here, okay? Hang on a second here. So you're going to do fine if you jump in right here. But I know I have this ambiguous candle right here, indecision candle. I get a little move to the upside. right? It comes back down. I might wait a second here. This is only the 10-second chart, so I got a minute to wait. Comes back down. I'm going to still wait. Or if I got in here full size, that's fine too. Okay, I can still get in full size here. But with a little bit of experience, you might get a partial. And then right here, you'll see your red candles coming down, and we're waiting. At this point now, we're looking for clean touches. Okay, and so here, once we get back above the crush it zone, either A, you're going to be like, okay, I'm in the money, or B, you're going to be, okay, now I'm going to start adding back into this trade. All right, guys. So this is going to take a little bit more practice, but this isn't going to mess up your stats. You're still going to have really good stats on Tesla. Okay. Let me see if I can find Tesla here real quick. Tesla. There it is. Here's Tesla. Okay. Look at Tesla. So in the month of April, and actually this one is also not updated. If you're in Tesla, $2,000 would have produced $6,000. So you should be up. We had two really good winning trades on Tesla yesterday and the day before, which I don't have marked on this spreadsheet right here. Okay, but we'd be up $6,000 right now. So this should be up about $6,000. Okay, we got 1 day left in the month, so we'll see how that goes. But you can see March. Let's see really quick here. March, we doubled our money on Tesla. February, we didn't quite double our money. Just shy of doubling our money. January, right? 10 times our money. 10 times. December, we 7 times our money. November, not the best. We're down $200. We're down a little bit. October, $800. September, $25,000 would have turned into $37,000. August, $1,000, you would have doubled your money. $1,000 would have quadrupled your money in July. So you guys, it's a good ticker. Not every single month is going to be right the best month. So if you are in a ticker like NVIDIA this month, just be chill. It's coming. You know, when your account gets to 10, 20,000, and we can start trading 2 or 3 tickers, and then we can start averaging these crusher zones out. And then at that point, you'll start averaging a green day every single day. Okay. You'll get green every single day, just about, once you manage it properly. But when you're trading just one ticker, you're going to have to put up with a month or two through, in an 8-month period where you're not going to be maybe making as much money as you would in other months. But they will work out if you stay consistent, persistent on the same ticker day in and day out. Take your time, and you're going to do a good job on those. Okay, you guys? Yep, the turtle wins the race. The turtle wins the race. I promise you. Just take your time. People get into trading, and they think it's easy. They're going to become millionaires. And when you get into trading, you're going to have to learn how to be patient. Take your time. Let the trades work out, okay? You have to be a very patient, methodical person in order to trade, okay? Here is our trade on MSTR yesterday. Excuse me. We just get into the trade right here at the 50% of the crush it zone, right? And once again, HI, we have a $5 move to the 50 SMA. Did we get to the 0 line? No, we didn't. But normally we try to. But once again, let's take a look at MSTR here. There's MSTR. We have a 83% win rate, a 7-month average of 79% win rate on MSTR. If you had $1,000 in MSTR this month, you would be up $19,000 for the month. And actually, it's more than that because, like I said, I haven't updated this chart yet. So MSTR, you're looking at, what is MSTR for April? You should be up $139,000 off of 5,000. But let's just start with 1,000. If you start with $1,000 at the beginning of the month, you should be up about $27,000 for the month. And I know some of you guys said that you're going to play MSTR. How many of you are up even 2,000 off of your 1,000? Okay. So I'm saying this, guys, I'm going through this one last time in April because April is, faith and fear month. This is the month that we focus on faith and fear. Okay. You can get stopped out. Like I remember I was in this trade with you guys when we got stopped out. Okay. It was very choppy. It was a very long wait. The trade did end up working out. It did end up working out 10 minutes after we got out of it. Right. But you know, it is what it is. We got stopped out. And then the next day you got sketchy. The next day we're a little sketchy. Then you move over to Meta, get stopped out. Then you took a Tesla trade, got stopped out. And then you come back to MSTR, you go half size because you're still nervous. Then Tesla has a hell of a run. And then Meta has 2 great runs in a row, right? So that moving around type deal has really costed some people some money. The ones that are sticking with just one ticker, right, have doubled their money. And once again, hats off to Don, who is playing NVDA, which is about a 58% win rate just this month. One of the most consistent tickers we trade is NVIDIA, but every once in a while you're going to get one bad month or two, and that's fine. It just happens. You got to go with the flow. But with a 54% win rate, she was still able to double her money. You have an 83% win rate on MSTR, and some people have doubled their money, but a lot of you haven't because of the faith and fear concept. You are not going into this with faith, okay? You just have to believe that this is going to work. You have to get in at the crusher zone. Like I was just telling you, it doesn't matter if you get in at the crusher zone or if you're going to, I want to wait for one more confirmation. It doesn't change the probability. The probability will not change if you wait for another confirmation and then another confirmation and then another confirmation. And pretty soon you've lost $1.50 to $2 waiting for confirmations. You're like, okay, now I can go. And I do this because it makes me feel better. Okay, well, if it makes you feel better, and you're okay with it, that's fine. But you're going to have a tougher time doubling your account doing it that way, and that's fine. You can certainly do it that way, and you can grow it even slower and more methodically, and that's fine. But if you really want to dig in, right? If you really want to dig in, you just need to go all in, right? Here it is right here. I'm going to show you this here on MSTR, right? Scenario 1, 2, and 3, right? It doesn't matter when you get your losses. If you're YOLOing every single trade, when I say if you start your account out with $2,000 and just YOLO that $2,000, just go all in, right? And it doesn't matter when you get your losses in a 10 trading day period, right? You're always going to equal the same amount of money at the end, okay? And time doesn't stop. So we put constraints on time and say this month, this month, this month, this month, right? The thing with probability is numbers can be random, okay? We can get, you can flip a quarter 8 times in a row and it hits tails, right? Or you can hit it heads, tails, like every other time, right? It's random. So that's why don't worry about month to month. Yes, keep track of your numbers each month, but as far as the strategy goes, you just keep YOLOing, keep going and going and going and going and going and going and going. And if you look at the charts, right? Look at MSTR here, 22,000. Right, where's this at here? You open this up. 3,000, tripled your money. What is it? Six times your money. December 2,000 turned into 9,000. November 2,000 turned into 20,000. Right. So it's just gonna keep going and going and going and keep YOLOing. I don't care. You're not going to get stopped out at every single one because some of the ones you're going to see, they're going to blow right through the crusher zone and you're not going to get stopped out. You're just not going to take the trade. And some of them you are. And now that we're in Management May, right, we are going to learn how to keep our 15% losses down to 7 to 10% every once in a while, okay? So you guys, are you catching what I'm putting down here? Like, let's keep pushing. You got to execute at the crush it zone, right? You're going to double your money every single month, okay? A few people in the room are absolutely proof that this can happen, okay? The thing that's stopping you is fear. It's nothing but 100% fear. Like I said before, it's like when you donate money. You donate money, you don't go, oh man, that sucked. right? Be willing to donate the money. And if you are willing to lose $2,000 on the strategy and give it away to see if it works and feel comfy with it, then do that. I showed you here. Let me show you coin. Let me show you coin. I think I have coin up here on this. Look at coin. If you only want to start with $700, coin right now, $6,794. If you're at $6,794 right now, what's the most money you can lose on coin? The most money. Coin is actually at, for April, coin is at, let's see, let me put $700. $700 would have equaled $10,000 by now because I didn't put the data in. The most money you can lose is $700. So even though you're at $10,000 for the month, the most money I can lose is $700 because that's all I have into it. So donate money into this program, into this system. Let me show you how it works. Because if you're only donating $700, then you're going to be a little bit more fearless. You're going to have a little bit more faith. But if you're YOLOing your account, right, and that's all the money you got, fear is going to jump in and say, dude, what the hell are you doing? Back off. You're not going to risk everything you got on this trade, okay? So hopefully I've helped you, right? Hopefully this is going well. Today's the last day of April. I don't care if I get stopped out or not. I'm taking my Crush It Zone trades on the tickers that I have, and I'm moving on. That's what I'm doing. I don't care. I don't care if I get stopped out. The numbers don't lie. Day in and day out, we play this, you guys. May is not going to be about trying to convince you to get into the trade anymore. I'm sorry, April's not going to be about, the fear and the faith. It's going to be about trade management, okay? It's going to be about managing because once you've executed the trade, there's no more decision making. I mean, you've got into the trade now. You've executed. We're off to something different now. So if you haven't caught up to the concept of fear and faith yet, you got one day to do it because we're no longer going to be trying to convince you. I'm not going to go to the beggar's box and beg you to please just get into the trade. You got to trust me. I'm not doing that, okay? I'm not going to do that. You see my profits up there. You see me taking the trades every day. You see the money I'm making. I'm taking 10 contracts every single time just about. And you see the money that's going on there. And I'm going to do it again today. You'll see it firsthand right here on Crush It Trading. Okay? So you guys, I'm going to get ready for the open. We got the open in about 15 more minutes here. So I'm going to stop the stream. If you have any questions, check out the links below. If you want to get into the Crush It Trading Room and learn how to double your money every single month, there's no guarantee because it's all up to you.